This is Sarah Nell Walsh. In case we haven't met before, I am a professional coach, former attorney, and founder of Wayfinders LLC. I work with ambitious professionals to help them grow their businesses, gain influence, and make their desired impact on their organizations, their families, and the world. We are gathering here today to talk about productivity, which is a subject near and dear to my heart. I consider it one of my superpowers. I get more done in any given day than most 3 people can get done, as evidenced by the fact that my old law firm had to hire 3 women to replace me when I went out on maternity leave. And time is at a premium right now. So we need all the extra time that we can find. People are trying to fulfill so many different roles, more roles than they normally need to fulfill, and they need more energy than ever to keep that up. Sometimes we're even trying to fulfill those roles simultaneously of being a boss, a subordinate, a parent, a teacher, and a spouse, all at the same time right now. And it can be really, really hard. You know, I saw a Facebook post today. One of my clients posted on their Facebook page something they had copied from someone else's Facebook page. And it basically was talking about the silver linings of COVID. And this dad was saying how, he was really enjoying the slower pace, that he no longer dreaded Sunday nights because he could now, instead of waking up at 5:30 in the morning, wake up at 7:30. And hygiene was maybe a little bit more loosey-goosey in his house than it normally was. And he didn't have to fight his kids to get off to the school bus and be ready for school and be properly fed and have their teeth brushed, and that all of those things could happen at a more leisurely pace throughout the day. And he was really saying that he was enjoying that this felt like kind of a break from reality, and he was really enjoying this new reality. Which I understand and which is totally valid. And if some of you are in those shoes, that's awesome. Enjoy it. Let yourself enjoy it. And don't feel guilty about that. That post was met by a overwhelmed mama who is trying to work from home with a toddler, and she is having the exact opposite experience. She is waking up earlier than she ever has. And her days are harried. She never feels like there's enough time. She's trying to hold her baby in one hand and type her clients in the other hand. And she doesn't feel like she has any space. And this time is completely overwhelming and is really making her kind of feel like she's going to lose her grip. And you know what? To those mamas out there who feel that way, that is completely valid and understandable. And you are allowed to feel that way and not feel guilty that you aren't just soaking in the wonderfulness of your children the way some other people seem to be. There is no one right way to handle the experience that we're going through. Everyone's experience is unique. And so as I'm talking about these productivity tips today, I am not trying to offer you a one-size-fits-all solution or a magic bullet. I'm trying to offer you some experiments that you can try that might help you be more productive. If it works for you, great. I am so happy. And if it doesn't work for you, toss it out and try something else. I'm constantly tweaking my own productivity tools and have been constantly tweaking them through this new challenging time. So I think that is totally fine. And what works for you one day might not work for you another day. And so having a lot of tools at your disposal really helps you be flexible and respond to whatever situation you find yourself in. So one proven productivity tool that I love that I've been using for close to a decade is time blocking. And time blocking is where you block off time on your calendar to do either one high cognitive task or a lot of the same task at a designated time during your day. So for example, when I was practicing law, I had a very high email volume practice. And if I let myself, I could play in my inbox for a 10-hour day and never get through all my email. And so what I did is I set times of the day, designated blocks of time where I just blew through email. And I responded to all the emails, and I only left emails in my inbox that had an action item And then those emails went on my to-do list. And I never responded. I would look at an email and I would say, do I need to respond to this? And if I didn't need to respond, I would just immediately file that. And the reason for that is email begets more email. You can also do this with returning phone calls, with sending invoices. So getting all your clients on the same invoice system and sitting down once a month on the 1st or on the 15th and just sending out a batch of invoices. You can do this if you're an attorney with pre-bills. So it's setting aside time to do a batch of tasks or to do one high cognitive task. Like, I really got to get this report out. And so I'm going to set aside time on my calendar from 9 to 11 o'clock this morning. I'm going to reduce all my distractions and I'm only going to work on this report from 9 to 11. So it's like making a calendar appointment with yourself. The next experiment you can try is called the Pomodoro method. And this is where you set a timer, traditionally for 25 minutes, and you focus on one task for those 25 minutes, and then you take a 2-minute break. And then as you string these 25-minute increments together, you are able to get a lot more done. I frequently use the Pomodoro method when I'm cleaning my house. So I set the timer after dinner. I'll set the timer for 25 minutes. All of us are required to go and clean the house for 25 minutes. And when it's done, and everything gets left where it is. It's cleaner than it was before we started. It might not be as clean as I want it to be, but progress over perfect in that area. And then some other productivity tools are Touch It Once. You know, this is an old tool from when we had paper on our desks back in the dark ages. But when you see something, how can you take it from life cycle of receiving it to the end product of where it needs to be? So this can be applied to your home. If you pick something up, don't just move it somewhere else to then be brought to its ultimate destination. But actually, like, if you pick up the shoes, go ahead and put them all the way back in the closet as opposed to putting them maybe like we do on the steps to go upstairs. So Touch It Once. You can also use this for email, and you can use this for phone calls if you just pick up the phone, although I'm very loath to do that, especially if I don't know who's calling me. Eat the frog first is another productivity technique, and that's where you do your hardest task or your most difficult, least desirable task first thing in the morning. And the thought is that once you get that really gruesome task that you've been dreading doing out of the way, the rest of your day will feel like a breeze. And so what do you need to tackle first thing in the morning so that it's all downhill from there? And so eating the frog first can be incredibly make you more productive because it gives you a real feeling of accomplishment that can power you through your day, as opposed to if you procrastinate and wait and then you don't do it and you kind of feel like your day's been wasted. Another one is to create and utilize a project list. So for lawyers, I recommend creating and utilizing a case list that has your statuses and your deadlines for all your cases laid out. And then that way you can always be going through your case list and updating it. It makes you more productive because you always know where you are on any given case at any given time and what your next action item is. It's a little bit different than a to-do list because it's perspective looking and it's a little bit more strategic. We've adapted this strategy for some of my business clients with their big projects, especially where they're managing a lot of other people, to have a project list and kind of what their deliverables are at any stage in the project and where they are and who's responsible or who's on first for those. I talked about this yesterday when I talked about productivity with eliminating distractions, but y'all, seriously, turn off your email notifications. If you are still getting Outlook notifications in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen popping up, you should turn those off. It is very distracting and really reduces your productivity. I also recommend that you hide your phone or you turn it on Do Not Disturb. You can listen to all the reasons why and how you can overcome maybe your obstacles and your resistance to that in my post from yesterday, but I highly recommend that you hide your phone while you're trying to at least do those time blocking, really high cognitive tasks. And then another great thing that you can do is you can track your energy throughout the day. And if you want an energy tracker, there's a great one from Designing Your Life, where you can track your energy and engagement throughout the day. It's really helpful to know when you're at your most energetic, when you feel your best, and also what types of work really engage you so that you feel like you could, these are the times when like you forget to go to the bathroom, or, you're so engaged that time just passes super fast. You look up and you're like, oh my gosh, it's 5:30. I've got to make dinner. Keeping track of what those tasks are is really powerful, because that's when you're in the flow, right? And then what time of day are you most likely to be in the flow? What time of day do you have your your best energy, so that you can then plan your day to kind of hit those rhythms that you naturally have. And so that can be really helpful. And again, I can send you a great tracker that I found, or you can find it on the Designing Your Life website under their resources page. It's an energy and engagement tracker. And then another tool that I love, and maybe this is because it was, my favorite college drinking game, but it's called Power Hour. And you set aside an hour of time and you see how many tasks, I like to call them 2-minute tasks, but how many 2-minute tasks can you get done in an hour? And I actually tally them and count how many tasks I can get done. But it's how many things can I just knock out in an hour? And it just leaves you feeling so accomplished at the end that you really feel like you can tackle anything else that's on your desk. And so those are some of my best productivity tips. These are some of the tips that I work on with my clients, where we try these as experiments and we see how they work, and then we tweak them. One of the ways that I've tweaked, so I'm a huge to-do lister. I live and die by my to-do list. I love it. I have been using one since I was in high school. And recently, my to-do list has made me feel more discouraged, because there's just a lot of things that I can't cross off of it. And while I am more flexible right now, I cannot be as rigid as I like to be when I am working from home on my own. And so what I've done is I've tweaked my practice of having a to-do list, so that right now I only write down 3 things. And I say, today will be a success when I list 3 things, right? I don't say if, because it's not an if. It's when I get these 3 things done. And then I have a got it done list, and I write down all the things that I do that day. And it might be like it was today, helping my daughter through her math during distance learning. That is not something that would ever probably go on my to-do list, but it is something that I did today that I can really take pride in and feel like was a very productive use of my time. I taught my daughter how to dribble a basketball today. I did the New York Times 7-minute workout today. None of these things are things I would put on my to-do list, but they are things that I got done today that are on my got it done list, and that make me feel like today was a day that was well spent. And so that's one of the tweaks that I've made during this time period to continue to make myself feel productive and really keep my energy up. And so again, holding all of these things lightly and thinking, how can it work for me? And then if it's not working, what can I change to try and make it work better? So I am going to leave you guys with this question. What is one action that you're taking away from today that you can experiment with tomorrow? And I'd love to see your takeaways in the comments so that I can support you with those, and I can check in tomorrow and see how those experiments are going. Y'all, I hope you are doing so well, and I hope that you are finding at least some quiet moments to enjoy the silver linings of this time period, even if it is really, really hard. I'm sending my absolute best. Have a great night. Bye, y'all.